I saw this yesterday right after the show. I retweeted it, wound up being one of dozens of people that I saw on my timeline talking about this. It jumped from the sports pages to the news pages to the entertainment pages. People that I follow on my Twitter timeline, I don't really talk about sports very much, talked about it. This happened in Class 4A Section 5 baseball final in Minnesota. Apparently this happened last week. Took a while for the video to hit Twitter. But it's a moment where we see a pitcher striking out a batter to end a game to make the state finals as the teammates of the pitcher and catcher pour out to go to the pitcher who threw a 3-hit shutout. The pitcher goes to the hitter and gives the hitter a prolonged hug and a lot of solace and back tapping before he then goes out to celebrate with his teammates. And the story behind it is the pitcher from Mounds View High named Ty Kane, he struck out a young man named Jack, I think his name is Koson, of Totino Grace to end the game. And these kids go back about 5 years. Friends since they were 13, played on Little League together, went to separate schools, and they know each other really well. And the first thing that the pitcher, Ty Kane, wanted to do was console his friend about striking him out to end the game before he then celebrated with his teammates. And man, oh man, I saw this. It broke me up. I actually teared up to see that level of sportsmanship. And I was then surprised, to be very honest with you, to see that there were some people who thought that competition and that this young man who was hugging the hugging the batter and his friend, some people think that he should have gone and celebrated with his teammates and then found his friend later on.
I'm one of those people. When I first saw it, it struck me as very odd. I've never seen anything like that.
Right.
I played sports for a long time. I've been on both ends of that situation. I think we're all looking at this from the pitcher's perspective of how cool and nice he is to console him after accomplishing that feat. But if I'm the batter, if I'm looking at this from the batter's perspective,
yes,
I'm humiliated. I'm embarrassed, and I feel like I let my teammates down by striking out to end the game. The last thing I want is the person who struck me out giving me a hug.
Even if you have known him for 5 years and you're tight with him, you wouldn't want that?
No, I don't think so. I don't want anyone consoling me.
Why is that?
That's a rough situation to be in, man. You feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you feel like you let everyone down, your teammates, your family, and here's the guy who did it giving you a hug when he should be. I wouldn't want him to do that because you won. Go celebrate with your teammates. You can hit me up after and just say, hey, man, that was a tough at bat. Yeah, you really got me. But in that moment, man, that just struck me as kind of weird.
Well, according to Koson, I believe it's Kocon. He said, quote, "This isn't on you. You played great the entire game. Keep your head up. You're such a great player." Kane remembers telling his friend, "You had a great season. You're a great player. And don't let this outcome affect our friendship." And I told him I loved him and he's my brother and our friendship will always last longer than this silly game and its silly outcome. Again, the young man who was hugged and struck out said, "I was just thinking in 20 years, I'm not going to remember the score of that game, but I'm going to remember him coming up to me after that and just kind of being there for me when I needed someone." Now, I'm not denigrating the way that you're feeling.
That's totally fine.
You're saying what you're saying prior to hearing all of that. You're just viewing a video that you're seeing on social media.
And then putting myself kind of in their shoes and being like, that's not how I would want the situation to have gone down.
And in terms of his coach said, whether this happened or not, I'll tell you, Ty, again, the pitcher, he is a high-character kid, wonderful human being. He's a tremendous competitor, but as you saw in the video, he understands there's a bigger picture, and friendship really mattered to him. Now, again, he was throwing a 3-hit shutout, and I don't see a final score, or 4-0. He had a 4-run lead. He could have thrown his friend a cookie. Now that would have been a different story. That's my best friend. I've got a 3-run lead. I've got a 4-run lead.
Yeah, let's groove one.
Okay, I'm just going to groove him one and see what he can do with it, and then deal with the rest, deal with the pieces otherwise. Now that would have been a different story where you're affecting the competition. He still did strike his friend out.
Sure. It looked like a ball, but that's fine.
And then it's to go to the state championship.
Right.
And in that moment, I just thought the fact that he did this to me, and again, I understand I've never been in a high school level competition like this also. But I do want to say this to his parents, to instill this sensibility in a young man for him to, by the way, perform the way that he did and in the moment know that that's his friend and go up and give him a hug. And then in the middle of all that, tell him what he told him.
Yeah, to have all those thoughts at once.
It's so beyond this young man's years, and it's heartwarming to me. I couldn't get over it.
Yeah, that part is cool. I'm wondering what his teammates thought.
How about this? I've got this one for you. His teammates since then have been walking up to Ty Kane and giving him hugs and saying free hugs.
Okay.
So they're kind of poking fun of him a little bit, good-naturedly.
That's good. I would expect that.
But I am rooting for him.
That's cool.
Now, again, that was your view of it, seeing it from the beginning.
I hadn't seen any quotes or anything. I was just watching it, and that was my reaction.
But those who are, by the way, still having that reaction after hearing all of this, I say to you, what is your malfunction? What in your world is your malfunction? I know there's no crying in baseball, but there's a lot of heart in baseball, and this kid's got a big one beaten in his chest. Incredible.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.